Volkswagen spent years replacing buttons with touch sliders. Drivers hated them so much that VW CEO publicly admitted it was a mistake, and they're putting real buttons back. They're not alone. After a decade of stripping cars of practicality in the name of minimalism, manufacturers are admitting that they got it wrong. 13 features once labeled obsolete are making a comeback. And number 7 is a safety issue first responders have been warning about for years. Number 13, physical buttons and knobs. The most significant reversal in the entire industry. For years, designers buried critical functions like defrost, climate control, and hazard lights inside touchscreen submenus. The problem isn't just annoyance, it's safety. Muscle memory is the ultimate safety feature. You shouldn't need to look at a screen and navigate 2 menus to turn up the heat while driving in traffic. VW, Hyundai, and Porsche are now reinstalling real clicking buttons on steering wheels and center consoles. Even BMW, which went all in on touchscreen controls, is bringing back physical climate buttons in their latest models. A high-tech interior isn't premium if it causes a fender bender during a simple radio adjustment. The industry confused simplicity of design with simplicity of use. They're not the same thing. Number 12, the dedicated volume knob. Replacing a century-old technology with touch-sensitive sliders was one of the worst decisions the industry made. A knob gives immediate tactile feedback. You know exactly how much you've turned it without looking down. After massive consumer backlash, even tech-forward luxury brands are putting dials back on the dash. There is simply no better interface for controlling volume. Number 11, the spare tire. Manufacturers ditched the spare for mobility kits, a can of pressurized goo, and a cheap compressor. Those kits only fix tiny punctures. Hit a pothole and tear a sidewall? You're stranded waiting for a tow that starts at $150 plus. Drivers made it clear they'd rather lose a fraction of a mile per gallon for the security of a real spare underneath their car. SUVs and sedans are now being redesigned to fit at least a space-saver spare again. It's a reminder that weight savings means nothing when you're stranded on a rural highway at midnight with a flat tire and no cell service. Number 10. Traditional gear shifters. Button shifters and rotary dials were supposed to save console space. Instead, they created confusion. Drivers accidentally shifting into park while reaching for the volume, or feeling uncertain during high-stress maneuvers. There's a psychological certainty and mechanical confidence to a physical lever that a button can't replicate. Whether on the console or steering column, the traditional stick is making its way back because intuitive eyes-free control matters far more than saving 3 inches of dashboard space that nobody asked to have freed up in the first place. Number 9. AM radio. AM sounds like a relic until you realize it's still the backbone of the emergency broadcast system and the only information source for millions in rural areas with no cell signal. EV manufacturers removed it because electric motors cause signal interference. The backlash from safety advocates and government officials was immediate. They're now engineering better motor shielding just to bring back the radio waves that saved lives during natural disasters. Number 8. The death of piano black plastic. Every interior designer thought coating surfaces in high-gloss black plastic looked premium. It stayed clean for about 12 seconds. Fingerprints, dust, and micro-scratches made brand new interiors look 10 years old within a month of ownership. Manufacturers are finally moving back to textured plastics, brushed metals, and matte finishes that actually survive daily use without constant cleaning. A car interior shouldn't require a microfiber cloth and glass cleaner just to look presentable. Number 7. Traditional door handles. This is the one I told you to watch for. Flush-mounted and electronic pop-out handles look great in a brochure but have become a real-world nightmare. In freezing climates, they ice shut regularly, locking owners out of their own cars. But the bigger issue is safety. First responders can't open electronic handles when the car loses power in a crash, making it nearly impossible to extract victims from wreckage. That's not a design inconvenience, that's a life or death failure that no amount of styling can justify. Mechanical pull-style handles that work without electricity are returning across multiple brands for exactly this reason. I'll be honest, this is the one on the list that frustrates me the most because the safety implications were obvious from the start, and manufacturers chose aesthetics over function anyway. Number 6. Properly sized engines. For a decade, the industry tried to convince us that a tiny 1.0-liter 3-cylinder with a massive turbo could replace a V6. On test cycles, the fuel economy looked great. In real-world driving, traffic, hills, highway merging, AC running, full passenger load, these engines were under constant stress, leading to premature turbo failures, blown head gaskets, and fuel economy that never matched the window sticker. Manufacturers are upsizing again to 2.0 and 2.5-liter 4-cylinders that don't have to strain to do their job. The result is better real-world fuel economy, longer engine life, and fewer expensive repairs. Displacement isn't the enemy, inefficiency is. Number 5. Physical turn signal stalks. Moving signals to buttons on the steering wheel proved dangerous when trying to indicate while the wheel was turned. Your thumb can't find a button that's rotated 90 degrees from where you expect it. The stalk is the perfect ergonomic solution, and it's returning even to the most futuristic EVs on the market. Some problems were solved decades ago. Number 4. Actual blind spot visibility. Sleeker rooflines and thicker pillars created massive blind spots that manufacturers promised sensors and cameras would fix. But sensors fail in bad weather. Cameras get covered in salt, mud, and road spray within minutes. Drivers want to actually look over their shoulder and see the road. 2026 designs are featuring larger glass areas and thinner pillars again, acknowledging that no amount of technology replaces a clear line of sight. Number 3. Analog gauges. Fully digital instrument clusters were the must-have feature of 2020. Many drivers found them overly bright, distracting, and prone to lag. That's something timeless about a physical needle on a dial. It's readable at a glance without processing delay. More cars are now pairing a center screen for navigation with physical gauges for speed and RPM. Best of both worlds. Number 2. The rear window wiper. Designers claimed airflow over the car would naturally clear rain and grime from the rear glass. They were wrong. Owners in real-world conditions found rear visibility drop to near zero within minutes of driving in rain or snow, turning rear-view mirrors and backup cameras into useless decorations. After years of complaints from owners in every climate zone, manufacturers are reintegrating rear wipers into mid-cycle refreshes. You can't replace a mechanical blade with wind. Physics won that argument decisively. Number 1. Real exhaust tips. Hiding pipes behind the bumper and using fake plastic chrome outlines became a trend that looked cheap from day one, especially in winter when steam rose from underneath the car instead of the tips. It made $50,000 vehicles look dishonest. Brands are bringing back integrated outlets that actually connect to the muffler. If a car has an engine, it should be straightforward about it. Authenticity is making a comeback across the board. 13 features, all removed in the name of progress. All coming back because drivers refuse to accept the downgrade. The industry is slowly learning that real innovation enhances usability. It doesn't replace features that already worked perfectly. Drop a comment. Which feature did you miss the most? And what's still missing that hasn't made a comeback yet? The best feedback always comes from people who actually live with these cars every single day, not from focus groups. Subscribe for more. We've got a full lineup coming that covers everything from maintenance secrets to the smartest buys on the market. If you care about your car and your wallet, this channel was built for you.